we're driving down I-75 in Atlanta. Mind you, it's like 100 degrees.
Yes.
We just got our closures and frontals done, as you can see.
You just got your what done?
Our hair.
That's why y'all keep coming to me for money to pay for
No,
y'all
we don't
hair.
need your money. We could have used that other money to do something else.
You blocked me, and then I get court papers.
He was calling me evil, I'm on meth.
Okay.
Yeah, the truth hurts, I know. I never agreed to barter any toys or any hulls. You're not arguing about anything. You're lying.
Hey. You do that again and you're out of here.
Plaintiff Sierra Blackson says the defendant is a fraud who sold her a worthless car and endangered the life of her infant daughter. Defendant George Hudson says he sold the car as is, and the plaintiff is trying to scam him for weave money. He says he owes nothing.
Swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 It's case number 161 on the docket, Blackson versus Hudson.
Okay. And welcome to all of you.
Hello.
Let's see what we have here. We have the plaintiff, Ms. Blackson. You are suing the defendant, Mr. Hudson, for $2,070 for breach of contract. Why don't you tell me your side of the story?
I am here today to serve this fraud for selling me a car that didn't pass emissions. Meanwhile, he's driving around in Rolls Royces, BMWs. I met him at a hookah bar I used to work at. It's called Savoy. We were good friends. He sold a few of my coworkers a car as well. He sold one friend a Mercedes-Benz, and he sold another one a BMW.
Okay.
I had got into an accident, so once I got into an accident, I decided to use him to, buy a car. And he had a 2007 Ford 500.
Yes.
And he said, that he can put me in this particular car for $2,900 with taxes and fees and interests.
Yes.
Once I took it, a week later, I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden, the car just started smoking. So today, I have a witness here.
Okay, and your name is?
Jordan.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
Okay, what can you lend to this story?
So basically, we're driving down I-75 in Atlanta. Mind you, it's like 100 degrees.
Yes.
We just got our closures and frontals done, as you can see.
You just got your what done?
Our hair.
Oh, the hair.
Yeah, we had just got our hair done, so we were headed back to the city.
Yeah.
And so we're riding down the highway. The car starts smoking. So I immediately say, best friend, pull over. Mind you, my niece is in the backseat of the car.
Oh.
She's only 4 months.
I have a 4-month-old daughter.
4-month-old daughter in the backseat of the car.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees in Atlanta, and we just got our hair done. So we're not happy at this point.
That's why y'all keep coming to me for money to pay for
No,
y'all
we don't
hair.
need your money. We could have used that other money to do something else.
And it wasn't 2 weeks later. Y'all have been driving that car on and off.
It was a
You and
week.
your sister
It was a
and everybody
week.
been
I got
driving
the car on the 22nd. It broke down on
And
the
the car,
28th.
when you drove off with the car, was the car driving right? Was the car fine?
Yeah, because you prepared it for us to drive off the
So how
lot
long
with
you
it.
had the car before it went down?
Regardless of how I had the car, I didn't have
But the
emissions
car,
on
but
it.
the car.
All right,
Speak directly to the judge.
Okay,
Speak to the
let's
client.
just continue now.
After the car started smoking, we eventually called roadside assistance. Roadside assistance came out. I then had to tow the car.
2 hours later.
I then had to tow the car to the nearest mechanic,
Yeah.
and that's when they tell me that the car, it has problems with it, and they was like, "Do you have emissions?" I'm like, "I don't have emissions."
In Georgia, you have to have, in selling
to
the
pass
car, a
emissions.
smog certificate that it passed.
Correct.
Yes.
Did you have that?
No.
So when you bought the car, you didn't have a smog certificate?
No.
But
When he sold
said
the car,
when she came
in
begging
the
the car,
state of Georgia.
Okay, go ahead.
Speak to the
yeah,
judge.
when she came, she wanted the car. I looked out for her because we got mutual friends. We sold the car.
Yeah.
That I sold cars to.
Yeah.
So she come in, talking about she need a car. She come in with the baby, and she come with half the down payment. I didn't even charge her the whole down payment for the car because she didn't have it.
Yeah.
So
Okay, and
when
what did
I
I
put
give you
her
the
in the
rest?
car,
Yeah.
the car was fine. Everything was running fine with the car. And I told her, I said, okay, look, we just got this car in. If you can get emissions tomorrow, take $25 to go
never
get
said
emissions
that.
tomorrow, and we good. But me as a dealer, I should have went on, but I trusted her as a friend to do that.
never
But
said
she didn't.
anything
She
about
called me
emissions.
back a week later talking about the car. About 2 weeks later, talking about the car broke down and all this and that. First of all, I'm not giving her a dime today, tomorrow, next week,
We'll see
next
about
year.
that.
I'm not giving her a penny.
I will decide whether or not you're paying anything.
Period.
Okay.
Facts.
What is the 2070 for? Just you.
I gave him $1,000 down payment.
Got it?
And then I spent $617 on the first
No, you
mechanic.
didn't.
And then
No, you didn't. I spent that money.
Wait, I asked her.
And then Another week later, I spent $500 on his mechanic that he told me to go to, and he
Okay.
didn't give me the money for.
And that is the money that is to get the car to meet the
Fixed, to pass the mission. Yes.
Okay.
Which it failed
Now,
twice.
A fact is, when you sold her the car, you didn't yet have the smog certificate.
Yeah, the car was,
No.
excuse me, Judge, the car was sold as is. When
Okay, I
when you
have proof.
sell a car as is, it's as is. When you drive it off the lot, right
Okay.
now, if my Rolls Royce break down, I can't call Rolls Royce and say, I need you to fix my car.
Except an as-is sale, the car cannot be sold unless you have the smog certificate. You are then liable to pay the purchaser of the car the cost of getting the car to qualify for the smog
pass the emission.
certificate.
Which he
That's
did
why
not.
I got this right here.
Okay, let me see that.
That's $300, which is half of what she
Nah,
needed
no,
to
it
get
ain't.
done.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
What is this you're showing me?
That's why I had to cash out her $358 when the car first went down. Like you said, the laws in Georgia do state that you have to sell the car with emission, but if that car is sold without emissions, you got to give the dealer a chance to rectify the situation. And that's what I did. That's why I sent her that money. That's the only reason I sent her that $358. So after that, it was out of my hands. The emissions and everything's supposed to have been encompassed in that whole situation.
What if to get the car to meet emissions, it costs more than $358?
Exactly.
No, sir.
Exactly.
Exactly.
What?
It didn't. That's why she
617,
called me.
I had the
That's why I
receipt.
sent that.
Pull it
Let
up.
me see what the.
Here's
All
the
right.
down payments and the receipts for all that I spent on the car to get fixed to pass emissions.
Yeah, that's all I'm concerned about is the money that was needed to get it to pass emission.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a mother, so all the money that I had to put into this car could have went towards like daycare. I shouldn't have to put no money out. That's the thing.
Everything else related to the car that might have been fixed falls under the as-is clause. So that, and I get it, is unfortunate because I understand having a young kid and all that, but as-is means as-is. The
Yeah.
only thing required, which you are correct on, is that when you take that car off the lot, if it doesn't have the smog inspection, you have to be given the money so that it can be handled. And it was handled for $1,075.46, so I fined for the plaintiff in that amount.
Period.
Run that money.
And that Rolls Royce too.
You ain't getting
Period.
no money. Y'all ain't getting no money.
You worried about the
Y'all
wrong
trying-
stuff.
but
Do you
y'all
want
trying
to
to
use
get
it?
her
Because
out
we
to buy
can
y'all
make you
some weed.
one.
I
You
ain't
want
buying
us
no
to
more
make you
weed.
one?
Y'all
You
need
don't
to buy
have to
your
buy no
own
weed.
weed.
Well, y'all
Buy
buy
it
it.
everywhere.
Yes, that will be knocking on his door to pick up that Rolls Royce whenever we want to rent it. When you want to go get it, Best Bud?
We gonna go get it as soon as we go
As soon
back.
as we get back to the A. So yeah, we'll be waiting for you at the door.
I would never do business with him again. And I don't
Never.
recommend anybody else either.
He's a fraud.
When you deal with the lower end, that's what you get. So I learned a lesson today.
Plaintiff Jennifer Andrews says she and her husband Chuck loaned money to a trusted friend. But instead of repaying them, that friend posted vicious insults on Facebook. She's suing for $1,312. Defendant Eric Vollmer says he's paid off the loans. In fact,
Give
he
the truth, the
overpaid.
whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
Help me God. Case 145 on the docket, Andrews versus Vollmer.
Okay, and welcome. Let me see. We have the plaintiff, Ms. Andrews.
Yes.
You are suing the defendant, Mr. Vollmer, for $1,312 for a car, transmission, and a personal loan.
Yes.
Let me hear your side of the case.
Well, I'm suing Mr. Vollmer today because I gave him a series of loans and he failed to repay it. Instead, he just took advantage of me and then threatened me and called me evil, manipulative, liar. And then he put that all on Facebook when, in fact, I just want my money back.
So what happened? Tell me the case.
My husband, Chuck, has
Yes.
his own case against Vollmer. Well, it's a mix, but they're all in a car club together.
Yes.
And Chuck totaled his Lincoln, and Vollmer wanted it for parts or whatever, and so...
Okay, so you totaled your car.
I did. There's two deals here, Your Honor.
Yes.
I totaled my car. We met through the car. He had the same kind of car that I had.
Okay.
Wanted it for parts. We came up with an agreement of $400. He got everything except for the transmission. The transmission was new. I just paid $1,700.
So you wanted to hold on to the transmission of the car?
Well, he could take it to his house, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, but the transmission
But
was $1,700. It did not. That was not part of the agreement.
But the rest of the car was his to use for
Yep.
parts, sell them, whatever.
Yep. Signed
Okay.
title over to him. He took it.
But he didn't have the money to pay for it, so instead we worked up a barter deal where he
Yes.
was going to paint my deck and paint my living room, just one wall, paint my bathroom, do some, you know, odds and ends around the house in exchange for this car.
Were the items that you expected him to do in payment for the car parts, or for the car, was that written down? Or?
Yeah, he was actually painting my deck, and I just wrote it on an envelope that I had laying around that what we agreed
And
what
he
we were going
signed
to
it?
do.
Do you have that here?
We didn't sign it. We didn't think
Oh.
it was going to be an issue. Vollmer's a great guy, and
Yeah.
he's a good friend.
These are manufactured lies, Your Honor. I just have to interject for one moment. As far as the car and transmission goes, the car is completely totaled, and by getting it off their property was doing them a favor. And to salvage my friendship with Chuck Andrews here, did set up a payment plan, which I did have established with him.
Okay. And the payment plan for the transmission was what?
That's not true. I have our agreement in writing where he asked if he could have the he wrote me here that his Lincoln, because his original car died and he wasn't going to put any more money into his Caprice, whatever he wrote here.
I've never had any dead cars, Your Honor.
I have his text message right here that he wasn't going to put any more money into it. He was going to try to make his Lincoln more street worthy, and he wanted Chuck's Lincoln. And Chuck told him, "You can't just have my transmission." And Vollmer said, "Well, fine then. You know, you can just have this car back. I'm going to dump it off at your house." And then what he did, in fact, do was bring it to my work.
Some agreement was made that you would sell the car to the defendant.
For $400, he got everything but the transmission.
Secondly, what is this about? At what point did you want to buy the transmission?
When
Well-
the transmission in his car went out.
Well, the car is completely totaled and the transmission is compromised. The car still
Was
sits...
a deal made for you to buy the transmission from him at any point?
Yeah.
So now there's a deal whereby you will buy the transmission, and how much was that for?
$700, which I satisfied $450 of.
What was the payment plan on each of these items? The first item being the carb, which was bought for the parts.
That he was going to, in trade...
For
he was,
$400.
Right.
Yeah.
He was going to paint our deck.
Oh, that's right. That's
Right,
for the, okay.
right.
That's there.
Right.
Now for the transmission was $700.
Yeah,
And the payments are made how much a
Well, he
week?
came over
Or
with
what,
the
a month?
laptop.
$50 a week for the transmission, Your Honor, and $75 a week for the separate loan with Miss Andrews.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about the separate loan with you.
After he, you know, didn't do my painting, then he ended up buying his own house. And I says, "Oh, I'm never going to see you now. You're never going to have time to work on my house." "Oh, yes, we will. Yes, we will." Okay, so then like a couple weeks later, he now has no car. And we're friends with him. And he needed a car. I work at a car lot. And I said, "Well, what kind of a car would you be interested in?" And he doesn't have any money. He doesn't know what he's going to do. Nobody would step up to the plate to help him. Not his friends, not his family, nobody. Well, I didn't want to see him lose his good job. And he just bought a house. So I said, "Fine, pick out a car. I'll help you get it." So we phoned him. He wanted like a 1999 Buick Park Avenue. So he buys Chuck goes over, pays the man. Then Vollmer comes back over with his laptop again. We set up this payment plan of $75 a week.
Okay, for that loan that you gave him, which was how much was the loan?
$17.87 and some change.
And he would pay you back
$75 a week.
$75 a week. Okay. So basically, there are two obligations here so far.
Yes.
There's the $50 a week for the transmission
Yes.
till you get to $700.
Yes.
And there's $75 a week until you get to $17.87.
Yes.
And that's for the car. Okay,
And I'm
those
not
are
charging him any interest. And I
Okay.
took this out on my credit card, which is interest, but I didn't
Okay,
charge him.
okay.
Well, a couple weeks later, that car dies. Oh, shocker.
That car never died, Your Honor.
So
I
he
sold
ended
it
up-
because I needed money.
But he didn't pay me back with the
Okay.
money that he sold the car for. In fact, I've got
I
in
have
a text.
receipts for the car and all the checks that she cashed, equating to $160 more than what the car was worth.
on the $1,787 loan to buy the car. And you were going to pay back at $75 per week.
Correct, Your Honor.
How much of that was paid back, and where is the evidence of that? Because that's what's at stake.
$1,950 of that was paid, so an additional $160, Your Honor. If you're interested, I have the evidence of the car receipt and the check she had cashed by date in order.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Okay,
And
again.
here's also the car at the lot.
He still owes $450 for the transmission.
Negative.
Why?
I paid $450 of that. I discontinued the payments at $450.
Oh, you paid $450.
Correct.
Sorry.
He owes $350.
Okay.
I owe $250.
$250
Or
makes
they
$7.
can have the thing back because the transmission is completely useless to me. The car is totaled. I can't get the transmission out.
You agreed to buy that for $700. You paid $450, and that means you still owe $250 on that.
The problem here is that his bank sends me these checks every week.
These are not personal checks, Your Honor.
I still
These
have
are checks that he went to his bank and the
I
bank
haven't even
sent to us,
opened them.
not him. His bank sent them to us.
I can't cash them. There's no money in the account to cash them, and then
Those
I've
are
got...
images only of the checks that were cashed, not the ones that were processed and sent. If you want to count the ones that you were sent, there would be over 30 checks.
Okay.
There's never been any qualms until all of a sudden I get papers in the mail. I never had any problem with you about that piece of shit Lincoln that's going to end up right back on your property, and never about this loan that you stole money from me for. I never agreed to barter any toys or any house. The shit I did equates to way more than any of this money that's even worth you arguing about anymore. You're liars.
Hey.
You're the liar.
You do that again, and you're out of here.
I'm not going to keep depositing checks that are worthless. That's why I'm short the money.
You received over 30 checks. You had 5 extra. They canceled the extra checks. And when I confronted you on it, you blocked me. All I did was ask you why you cashed
No,
them.
you
You said
called me
wrong number and you
names.
completely blocked me. And then I get court papers.
Well, that is true because he was calling me evil, I'm on meth.
Okay.
You know, I'm just, whatever. And I didn't want to hear any more of that stuff. I'm
Yeah,
a
the
grown
truth
woman.
hurts, I know.
Yeah. So anyways, yes, Your Honor, they did send the checks, so they may have sent me 24, but they're
25
absolutely
checks that you cashed
I
on
can't-
top of 30-something.
He is telling the truth.
Your Honor,
This
I'm
is,
not
this
here to
part is
countersue.
true.
I don't have them.
I just want
I know you're
justice.
not countersuing them. Yeah, I get that. I do have here the copies of the check and your endorsement on it.
The $75 one?
Ultimately, these checks were good and cashed
Can I see
and
that?
dated and endorsed. Yeah, your signature's on every one of these.
Well, there's so much. Would you hold the checks? They could have been.
You
Well,
have,
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm not getting into any of that. I'm saying I understand there was back and forth.
Just want to make sure that the dates weren't duplicate. And then he sent me the letter that says, "Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I did my math must have been wrong."
that
Well,
was
if he-
before the end of all the
If he
checks,
would have
Your
just
Honor.
communicated that to me.
When? What is the
13,
date on
I'm sorry,
that? What is the
13.
date on that?
Yes, what's the date on that?
The dates are not duplicated at all.
Okay.
I'm just looking at that just so you
All
can be
right.
sure of that.
Well, this was Christmas, so this would have been December because he asked me not to cash any because it's Christmas, and then he said, "Would you please wait till the 13th to cash the next check? I don't have enough
I
funds
made
in my
very,
account."
very careful that she got paid her $17.87, and then discovered she got $160 more.
But he
regardless
wouldn't-
of what they say, Your Honor, the checks are right there.
But then
I
instead of
have
him
the
telling
evidence
me
on my
that,
phone. I have all the emails of the notifications that the checks are being
Well,
processed.
they're saying that you owed $17.88 for the Buick.
Correct.
You're saying that you overpaid it by about $200,
$160, yes.
$160. You owe them $250.
Technically for, yes. if I was-
$250 on the transmission.
Correct.
So I am finding in favor of the plaintiff of $90.
thank you. He's a great guy. It's just unfortunate that our numbers didn't match.
Yeah, the friendship's gone.
I don't think that it's worth trying to reconcile any kind of friendship with the Andrews. They're predators. I guess everything I supposedly said on Facebook must be true, so.